and well met. I am Mr. Eager DM at your service, and my friends and I welcome you to our live stream Dungeons and Dragons broadcast, presented by Lawful Stupid RPG. Tonight we return to Trapped by Hope, our playthrough of the module Descent into Avernus. With us around the virtual table, we have Typhon the Wizard, Silas the Paladin Fighter, Rim the Ranger, Zelmira the Monk, and Jax the Rogue. Welcome, players. We're missing our cleric and our bard.
Beans?
They're on the road, but they hopefully will join us a little bit in chat. So if you see them, please do say hello. My friends, it is time. I extend my hand, inviting you to step with me into fantasy. Release your hold on that which you know to be true, and let imagination rule for the next few hours. Last time, Conscript Group 14 continued their defense of the town of Idleglen, bearing witness to events that happened long ago. The fighting culminated after becoming more and more intense with the arrival of the demon lord Inagu himself. And after a fearsome battle, the adventurers were victorious, slaying the mighty demon just as the angel Zariel arrived. Wounded, desperate, Inagu bares his fangs in a frenzied grimace, ichor dropping down around you, Zelmira. He raises his flail, but as the final blow descends, there is a sudden rush of clean air, a wholesome glow of sunlight, and the clear call of nearby trumpets. Almost too fast for your eyes to register it, a tall, winged woman, clad in silk and silver armor, streaks down from the sky. Her alabaster white feathered wings tucked close to her body, she dives and slams into the ground, rising in a defensive position, interposing herself between you and Inagu. She blocks his blow with a familiar platinum sword that flashes with holy light as the thunderous call of an elephant splits the air. A golden-furred mastodon, also winged, barrels into the demon, knocking it 15 feet away from you with its mighty tusks. The mist surrounding Idleglen begins to dissipate, and you can see a mounted army of heavily armed and armored knights bearing down upon a horde of gnolls and demons. In the distance to the west stands a shimmering portal of yellow light through which the gnolls are fleeing, disappearing from sight as they do. Inagu scrambles at the ground as he attempts to flee the power of Bahamut's radiance, called forth by Rim. With a whelping sound, it burns away his flesh, leaving nothing but ash and demonic sludge behind. You can hear the sounds of combat as the knights drive away the gnolls and send the demons back to the abyss. Fires burn in the town of Idleglen, but people begin to emerge, battling them. Knights come, several clerics and wizards as well, casting spells and making the town safe. What do you do?
So are we in the middle of the chaos at the moment?
There is certainly chaos, but you are the moment where you are. You feel a sense of peace and safety as holy light literally radiates from the being in front of you.
And so Zelmira would have been directly in front of Zariel, correct?
Indeed.
Yeah, so her reaction, because I was anticipating being struck down and killed, and quite the opposite thing has happened, will be to look up and gasp and then kind of move backwards, but like on the ground on my little handles back towards my friends, because this is startling.
There's a impact sound as the large mastodon walks through some rubble and comes close to stand next to the angel. She is about 9 feet tall. His long wings extend and then float down, folding around behind her back. similar to a cloak. She still holds her sword, and her eyes are covered with a blindfold. Her hair has a silver bluish quality to it, and you can see a literal halo of blue-white flame floating a few inches above her head.
I will instinctually kind of reach up to touch my face. Am I still wearing the blindfold that I brought from the outside?
You are if you are. That is a choice that you can make. It is present here if you wish it to be.
Yeah. If I
Actually,
call out to...
I don't think you were wearing it. I think you had it on, but then you took it off. So you do still have it, but I don't think you have it on.
Oh, okay. That's fine. I'm fine with that.
It's like a scale band right now. It's holding your horns down.
Yeah. It's my night kerchief.
She is standing
Sorry,
there.
keep going, Sean.
She makes a slow pan over the entire city as she looks around and looks down at you, and she steps forward. And as she does, the sword disappears into light. She makes a sheathing motion, but the sword actually disappears as she sheathes it. She comes forward. You fought bravely and well. Are you wounded?
Some of us. Yes.
Yes.
Come. She holds out her hands, and her wings unfurl for a moment and then return to her body. And a wave of light washes over you. Everybody receives 32 hit points healing.
Oh, thanks, Zariel.
DM, while this is happening, as a paladin, I'm going to activate Divine Sense.
You are in the presence of two very powerful celestials. The vision that you see shows an enormous ball of light around this giant mastodon, and in its center, floating almost like a butterfly, a smaller, multicolored glow of light that is just flitting around in its center. And where Zariel is, it is everything that you would have imagined looking at an angel would bring: light, peace, purpose, healing power. Looking around to see if there is anything of danger around, you gaze and see whiffs of lingering corrupted energy, especially in the area where Yinagu fell. But immediate threats, there are none.
Zariel.
Oh, that's Zariel. I was about to ask who it was.
And I'll look over to the mastodon and I'll cock my head and I'll say, Lulu?
There's a pause as Zariel stops and then continues. And as you said this and witnessed this pause, it was almost as if the vision you were experiencing took a moment and stopped and then continued on again. And Zariel and the mastodon moved towards each other as if you didn't say anything.
Can I call out to...
Go ahead.
Oh, go. I'm sorry. Can I try to call out to Lulu in my mind to see if I can connect to her thoughts as she sent us here?
Sure. What do you say?
I will... Lulu, are we meant to interact or just to watch?
This is memory now.
I see.
Isn't she beautiful?
There isn't a strong enough word to describe what she is. Does it hurt to see her in this form now.
So much, Rim. It hurts so much.
You watch as Zariel and Lulu go and stand in front of the destroyed cathedral. And Lulu's giant trunk, at least you assume it's Lulu, comes and rests on Zariel's shoulder. She just gazes at the destruction. Does anybody have anything they wish to do at this moment?
Now, Lulu got big. He got jacked. Is that the right word?
Do you think she's lifting or like?
Jaxed is actually the word jaxed.
I do actually have a question, and this may have been addressed earlier, but it's hard for me sometimes to know what was addressed before I joined the campaign and what wasn't. But so the relationship between Zariel and Lulu, what is that? What was that?
Never really been defined other than that they were good friends.
Like companions?
Yeah.
Okay, cool. Thank you.
It would be more accurate, Jax, to say that Lulu used to be jacked.
Oh.
Is certainly not hinted at this form while we've known her. We're in the past. And if this memory is important and meaningful as I think it is, we should be careful to note where virtue gives way to the seeds of wrath, vengeance.
I'm struggling with something. So if this is memory, this whole battle, all of this has been memory. The moments prior when we were with those we've met along the way, were they? What were they?
Instruction.
Okay.
Maybe I'm a memory.
Many souls were lost. And they've gone to their final rests, and some of them have come to Celestia. I can show you what they saw, even though I didn't.
I'd be interested in knowing what they saw, Lulu.
You saw it too.
Right.
We
Okay,
did save
sorry.
Bruno.
Good job, Jax.
I think at this point, then, we will just stand and observe.
You see Zariel bring her hand and put it on the chunk of Lulu and hold it for a moment. She takes a deep breath and then floats up into the air and lands on the back of Lulu. This giant furred flying mastodon that turned around and looks down at you and then raises her gaze to look in all directions around Idleglen. She begins to speak. People of Idleglen, and all who bear witness to this injustice, hear me now. I, Zariel, Solar of Celestia, declare that this horror and those like it will no longer go unavenged. I will not, cannot stand helpless in observance as fiends rip creation apart century after century, defeated, yes, through great sacrifice, only to be reformed in the pits of Baator and the Abyss. They must learn that the will of goodly beings can and will exact a final penance for their wanton aggression. Those that hear my words and know their truth, ride with me. If you would protect the realms of light and life and peaceful existence, if you would stand in defiance of the will of evil, if you seek justice for what has been wrought by the forces of darkness, ride with me. For the honor of the lost, for the security of the future of creation, and for the glory of Celestia, ride with me! As she finishes speaking, there is a cheer from gathered soldiers and knights. She and Lulu, along with a large host of holy warriors, begin to make their way towards the shimmering portal to the west. But as they do, time seems to slow down as these figures plodding towards their doom are given a few moments of respite. And as Zariel moves away from you, you see part of her left behind. Smaller, sadder. She reaches up, pulls away her blindfold. You see golden eyes. She looks sadly at the departing host. I was so certain. So filled with righteous rage. And so terrified. And she looks at you all directly. Was I right? She's asking you.
You right to send your army into the pits of hell to face certain slaughter. Is that what you ask?
If that is what you see here.
Great evil.
I see devotion. A different kind than mine. A devotion to an ideal. The need to make things better. To stop suffering. The drive to take action when others sit and do nothing. This should be celebrated, not mourned. To take on the impossible task. This is devotion.
She continues to look at each of you, and you sense the
We lost you.
you sense the
John.
question still in the air.
Do you know what is to come after this, Zariel?
I am part of Zariel's soul that she split away from at this moment. But I'm still connected to her. We are still one. I know And I knew. I was so consumed with the idea that just for a moment, if we could tip the scales back towards the light, make a real difference, even if for a short time, that it would be worth every sacrifice. There are many forms of blindness, you see.
By that response, it seems that you saw, at least partially in the time, you had excised the sickness from this particular wound. You could have stopped, regrown, protected, and healed, as you just healed us.
Such has been my charge for hundreds of centuries.
And yet you chose wrath.
An old seed of evil, it would seem.
It need not be evil. Sometimes actions will change someone. Just as my goddess, Vandria Gilmadrith, raised up against her own mother and suffered for it, watched her family be torn asunder by evil. Vandria herself was changed from happiness to grief. But who she is remains through it all. Suffering need not break someone, not who they are inside.
What if that suffering is brought to others? Mortals have many stories.
No way!
About the power of evil. Dark, magical force that corrupts and perverts the righteous, changing saints into monsters. But that isn't the way of evil. Evil can't change your soul, it can't change who you are. At least not without your permission. It mutes, it diminishes the better parts of our nature. It obscures our light, that which we use to counterbalance the evil that dwells within all creatures. And in that darkness, that seed will grow. Even if it takes centuries. Until it's grown so large that it blots out the light all its own. And you forget that there ever was light. All that remains is the purposeful will to cause pain to those that stand between you and your goal.
Is that what you feared at this moment?
Yes. Terrified to be. But I held up that fear against the balance of centuries of uselessness. Every battle I fought, every one I've defended, the war rages on. Every demon and every devil that I slay, reformed, re-entering the fray. I needed to stand. Had to stand just once. Make them understand that they had a price to pay.
As you say, Zariel, if light can be made dark, then so can dark be made light. There is nothing that can be done about the past. There is nothing that can be changed. All we have now is what lies ahead. There is a part of Zariel, you, that exists in the light. What will you have us do with that?
The sword. With this spark of Zariel within it, you can destroy the chains that bind Elturel to Avernus. And you can shatter the companion, breaking the contract. That is what you should do. Just as I thought that those who had caused the great pain of centuries should pay, so too should I. Leave me. Leave me in Avernus. Tomb of evil is what I deserve.
Close my eyes tightly, and I think about those words. And I shake my head. No. So long as there is a sliver of hope that you can undo the damage you have done, I will not give up on a soul that is not completely lost.
Nor will I. I have to believe there's still hope in this place.
She closes her eyes. And then looks towards the retreating, or the advancing army, I should say. You see, one by one, people that you have come to know leave Idleglen and head towards their fates. A series of images begins to pass in front of your eyes. Wide vistas of piercing clarity. You see Zariel's army battling with ferocious vigor against Inagu's demons, pressing them backwards for miles and miles. You see the demon lord himself, reformed, join the fray, emerging from the maw of Krokektoek, which lays waste to large swaths of her fighters. Nevertheless, Zariel and Lulu, flanked by her companions Haraman, Olanthius, and Yael, and Jander Sunlight, lay waste to the fiends with glory-fueled might. Zariel destroys Kroketoek, splitting it from mouth to tail with one mighty blow from the back of Lulu. You watch the demons retreat, but then you witness the arrival of the archdevil Bel at the head of another army, driving Zariel's exhausted troops back across the plains of Avernus. You witness the battle between Bel and Zariel high above her anxiously waiting friends. Bel slashes through Zariel's armor with his flaming scimitar, and her left hand disappears in fiery ash. With a determined cry, she counterattacks, wounding Bel deeply with her celestial sword, and he flees in panic. And finally, you witness Zariel's hopeless fury as her utterly spent army retreats back through the portal, leaving her alone amongst her dead and dying friends, surrounded by the enemy. A dark presence looms over her, and the fiends retreat, allowing room for a tall, red-skinned devil with curling black horns to appear. A long, elegant cloak wreathed in shadow flows behind him as he steps forward. In his hands, he holds a red ruby scepter. In his eyes, you see unfathomable malice, but he bears an expression of pity. He leans down, whispers into Zariel's ear, and as he does, she seems to grow smaller, and he larger, as the vision fades, like a stone dropped into a well. For a time, you float. And you can hear Lulu's voice calling to you.
Silas, Rim? Jax? Zelmira? Typhon?
Yes, Lulu.
We're here.
It's time to come back. But I can't find you.
What can we see as we float?
Make a perception check.
Yeah, can we try to kind of figure out or orient where she is in relationship to us and move towards that? Or are we just like
Kraken.
floating without
Floating
any
in
sort of...
a misty darkness.
My
Love
Kraken
it.
dice says 14 plus 7 is a 21.
You look around, you can see your companions, but as you look, you can see that one of you is being led away. As you see Silas moving away from the group, being drawn away by a figure that you can't quite see.
Do we have
14,
the
you didn't get enough details before.
21 with my
Oh, you got a
bonus?
21. Oh, sorry. Yes, in that case, you see a female form, dark feathered wings. And as she pulls Silas away, as he doesn't even seem to be aware that he's being pulled, he's looking for the voice of Lulu the same way the rest of you are. The figure turns back and looks at you, Rim, and winks as you recognize Delilah.
Can I go towards Silas?
As you move towards them, the mist comes, hiding them from view, and then parts, and Silas is nowhere to be seen.
Do we all see that he's gone?
So,
Do I see that I'm gone?
I have a passive of 21.
Yeah, how
21,
how
yes.
aware are we
So-
of his absence?
yeah, exactly. Good point. So, you become aware that Silas is moving away, and you all look, and very quickly, just the briefest moment, you were able to see that something seemed to be leading him away. I will say, because of your passive, Jax, you did recognize this as being a feathered female form. But the only one who recognized who it was is Silas. As you have this moment of alarm, you look at each other, and then a ghostly figure appears in your midst. It is Yael, who once again looks at you all. She looks sadly. You could see the earring with the image of Vandria Gilmadrith hanging, and her staff sword. She stands in front of you all, and you can hear a voice in your head. Silas has been taken. This connection, this tenuous link, is attracted the one who claims his soul, and he will be tested. But because you all are here, you can choose to help him if you wish.
Of course. We are ready.
How do
Is
we
that
help?
true of all of you?
Yes.
We cannot leave him.
She raises a hand and the mists part. And Scott, I would like you to remove your headphones for a while.
Bye.
I will send you a message on Discord when we're ready to have you back. Yep.
Do I also go blind, or can I lip read?
You,
Everybody turn your cameras off.
you're welcome to try to lip read. I'm curious to see how well that would go. But
Fine. All right. Observe.
Osservate.
Okay, so let's all just make random mouth movements and
all right. So, as the mist parts, you look down on a misty vista, a mista, if you will.
Ah.
It is dark
And a
purple,
missus.
swirling swirling energy that has a malevolent feel to it. In the middle of it, you could see a large hill that has a path that winds around it several times before reaching the top. At the top of it, there is a dais upon which stands a magnificent statue. You've never seen this statue before, but it is one that is very familiar to Silas. This is his statue of his goddess. I don't believe anyone else would know what this is. The outskirts of this hill dissolve and fade into the mist around, so it is literally just a hill in a dreamscape. You float about 30 feet above where Silas is walking. As you look down, you can see Silas, and you can see into superimposed on the body a representation of his spiritual self, a light and strong glow of power that is being fed through some unseen source, but also a grip of darkness around his heart, very similar to what you saw when you looked at him with true sight, Samus, or at least when you looked at him with the artifact that you used.
Right.
And in his hand, connected to that darkness by a thin black tendril, is a piece of a stone. Looks like it might be a part of a statue or something, and he is holding it with both hands and trudging with it as he is taking step after laborious step, heading presumably up this hill towards the statue. Floating close by him, watching, is the form of Elila. You recognize her from your many dealings with her. You would recognize her, Zelimira, as the go-between between you and Glazia for your dealing, for the deal that you made with her.
Yep.
The rest of you would recognize her as being the creature that you freed back in Baldur's Gate, who was responsible for why Silas no longer has his soul. She turns and looks at you, floating as you are in space. She raises an eyebrow and moves a bit closer to you. You are not welcome here, my friends.
And yet here we are, my friend.
Curious. Well, I don't suppose there's any harm in allowing you to watch.
Watch what exactly?
Silas marches towards a glorious end.
Oh, that's nice for him.
I'm glad you think so, Jax.
I don't think so. In this context, it's less nice.
Be a pity. It would have been so much better for my mistress if he had a bit of a change of perspective before he died, but this will do. She's claiming what is hers.
Stu, Silas can't die.
When did he die?
Well, he hasn't yet, my dear. He's going to force himself to do something impossible. And the harder he tries, the more it will destroy him.
Do any of you know what she's talking about?
No.
Well, it's the stone, you see. It's been getting heavier and heavier each time he has one of these little jaunts. But it's important to him, you see. It is a piece of his goddess. It's a representation of his devotion to her. So he's not going to
Yet
put
the
it down.
stone looks nothing like the statue we see in front of us.
Well, perspective certainly does to Silas.
Is there anything, I mean, looking at the stone, does it give us any hint of what it is, or does it actually look
So it looks,
resemble at all what you see? Yeah.
make a Arcana check or a Perception check, your choice.
You know, I think I'm gonna go with Arcana.
I'm shocked.
What? Nuh-uh.
A dirty 20.
A dirty 20. So looking at it, you can see that it is connected somehow to this darkness that is within Silas's soul. This thing that you could see that is wrapped around the light like a choking vine on a tree. And it seems to be stemming from this rock or this stone or this physical representation of something. The moment it looks like a rock, but as you look at it and think, well, it really doesn't need to be a rock. It could be any heavy thing. It changes form and resembles to you a large metallic sphere, and then changes back into a rock, and then changes into a large crate full of iron bars, any heavy thing. Elila puts her finger to her chin and says, I sense an opportunity here. Obviously, you can't interfere. My mistress has total control of this domain. But if I would allow you to speak with him, give you a chance to convince him to lay down his heavy load, what would that be worth to you?
50 gold.
Noted. I'm looking for something a little bit more exotic.
50 platinum.
50 platinum. Final offer.
Oh, what a fun lot you've been. No,
Silver.
my dear, I want souls. Yours, unfortunately, already for sale. Already not for sale, but Typhon, Rim, Jax. who will offer up their soul for a chance for all of you to convince Silas not to rip his soul apart, trying to bring evil into his goddess's presence?
You speak of a wager.
More like an arrangement. But sure, wager, if that is easier to understand.
You've seen Silas's power increase. Were you watching when he stood toe to toe with Yinogu himself?
Oh, I must have missed that. That must have been impressive. But that's the beauty of this arrangement, you see, is that it's Silas's power itself that is forcing him to do this. The stronger he is, the harder he will try. And the harder he tries, the more he will fail. One can only get oil and water to merge so much. Eventually, one realizes it's impossible to keep them together.
Why would you let him go?
I'm not letting him go.
Why would you give us the chance to dissuade him from this path? I don't understand.
Obviously, I think I've got a good chance of winning. It's worth a soul, at any rate.
Can I make an insight check to see if I believe those words?
Sure.
Oh. Only a +3, so a total of 17.
She seems supremely confident, but this seems to be a genuine offer on her part. She is willing to offer you a chance to try and stop Silas from doing what he's doing in exchange for a soul.
I will close my eyes and I will whisper a brief prayer to Bahamut for forgiveness and to save my friend. I will risk my soul.
Wonderful. She reaches behind her and pulls out a long, triangular-shaped dagger. She reaches behind her and pulls out a scroll, upon which are written words of a contract. She makes a mark on her hand in blood, and you see her name, Elila Zesteron, appear at the bottom of the contract. She hands you the knife.
Can we read the contract first?
I was going to say, yeah,
course.
Typhon, take a
Yes,
once
of
over
course.
on that for
We
me.
need to read this.
I need to read it.
Excuse me.
What's it say?
It says, I'll let you make a...
You can sum up.
Yeah, I want to sum up. Make an insight check.
Do you not a different one from?
Yes, a different one. This is like specifically reading the contract, trying to see if there's any hidden language.
Okay.
Oh, wouldn't that be more analytical thought? Would that be able to be an intelligence-based check to suss out
yes,
legalese?
good.
My brother just took the LSAT. Should I have him present?
Yeah, go,
for this,
you
or-
go, absolutely. Please go get your brother. And
Yes.
Let's have a prequel campaign to write him in,
So-
so that
make an intelligence check, Typhon. D20 plus intelligence modifier.
Inspiration.
I know. Sure.
he's like Rim Soul, you know. Oh,
So
yay for
19.
inspiration.
19. All right. It doesn't have anything that seems specifically meant to trip you up. It says that she will allow you to speak with Silas, communicate with him, and try and convince him to not follow this path. If you succeed, then she and her mistress will release the hold on him that is causing the problem. He's welcome to continue on his path. And if he does, after they have released this hold on him, then it will not kill him.
But either, sorry.
Is
that
the
release
clause
his
of
soul?
failure meaning?
Meaning then that Rim will lose his soul.
But
But
So
if
it's
we
it's
were
double,
to-
it's double or nothing.
Yeah.
double or nothing. Yes, Silas's
Right,
soul
so-
will be released from
So
Glazia's
his
control.
soul, Glazia is not giving up control of his soul. So you gather, looking at this, and also from your Arcana check, you gather what is happening here is that Silas is bringing something with him that the closer he gets to the top of the hill, the harder it's going to be, but he's not going to stop. So he's essentially going to exhaust himself to death, trying to take this thing with him to the top of the hill. And they're going to release that so that he will be able to make it to the top of the hill and do whatever it is he needs to do up there. Provided you give your soul. If
With
you're
our
not
goal,
able to
I just want to
convince
make sure I'm 100% clear, since this is this
So
is a
if-
big contract. Our goal is to get him to release the stone that he is
yes,
holding.
to put down the stone, indeed.
And do we have a full understanding of what that stone is or what it represents?
The contract states that it's not. He does have the ability to put it down. It's not something that is linked to him. Like it's not. You're not trying to convince him to do something that is physically impossible. Something, if he wants to do it, he can put it down.
Okay.
So we all understand the terms of this contract.
Yeah, with
Jax does.
with a 19. Yeah,
No, Jax
doesn't appear to be
understand.
anything hidden. It's very straightforward.
I will look at Typhon and raise a scaly eyebrow. Does it mean what we think it means?
It would seem so. A curious risk, but
I will continue my prayer to Bahamut and I will sign the contract.
There's a sound as you finish signing, putting the dagger into your hand, as your name appears on the bottom of the contract in blood. She takes it, rolls it up, puts it away, and says, "Excellent. I won't insist on it since it wasn't in the contract, but I recommend one at a time. No need to overwhelm the poor boy."
did it? So she is acting as a vehicle for us to talk to him?
She's
She's
allowing you
allowing
to
us?
talk to him. Yeah, she's allowing you through. Yeah.
And she's doing so without interference?
She is allowing you to speak with him. That is all that is written in the contract.
Okay.
And now that that little bit of business is taken care of, we'll have some meta. Speaking is indeed all that you will be able to do to Silas. And I need you all, when you speak to Silas coming up here, to do so with the most sinister and evil tone of voice that you can muster while still being in character. Similar to this. "Peter, I've known you a long time. I think you're a really great guy. I'm impressed with everything you do." "Peter, I've known you a long time. I think you're a really great guy, and I am impressed with everything you do." You are not able to touch him. You're not able to use any spells or any spell-like effects on him.
And
You
just
can only use what you say in the most sinister and "don't trust me" sort of voice that you can muster. That is the effect that Glazia has put on this encounter.
All right.
Okay, so just to be clear though,
Okay?
the actor is going to put on this, sort of evil tone. However, in character, our characters believe that we are speaking normally.
Correct. You think you are speaking normally to Silas, and everything you say, however sincere your character thinks you're being, Silas
What is
is hearing.
happening?
Why does he have a tiny shopping cart?
And a tiny frog in this. Is that a chicken or a frog?
No idea.
Yes.
I thought that was a banana. Oh, sorry.
What came
okay.
first, the chicken or the frog?
So, does anybody have any questions?
Not
No.
Everybody's got
besides
it.
the shopping cart, but no.
Yeah, okay.
I mean, we,
All right.
we want to know what came first, the chicken or the frog. But yeah.
Uh,
Okay. Fun times, friends.
fun with friends.
Yeah, this is why we do it, you know?
So,
there anything new?
I do think meta, just like gameplay ways, we should do it one at a time. So let's roll initiative just to see who goes first.
Okay.
Alias is gonna love just showing up and seeing. We need tokens to do it.
Oh, yeah.
Which we can do easily enough.
Yeah, just put them on there and do it, and then delete your token.
No, I was just in the.
Crap. Just a second.
Oh, then my face goes away. Never mind. Doesn't work.
It doesn't work.
Sean, was there any new information when I ran to the loo that you gave? That wasn't
I did explain the context of the game.
Okay.
I would
So-
like to leave my face superimposed over the other face, Elila's face.
Okay.
So I hope that's okay.
Nice.
Thank you. I feel like I look amazing. I've never looked better.
Where did you go?
Where did
Are
I
you on
go?
the board, Zemir?
I should
Oh,
be
I
on
totally-
Elila's face.
There we go.
Rim, is that second roll for
beans.
advantage, right?
So
oh,
the-
you
I,
rolled
that
it
was,
again.
I
That's
had to roll a second time.
That's
Yeah.
the highest initiative count I've ever seen. I
Yeah,
think.
me too.
It
But
really
also
it
look at
doesn't matter in
yours.
this sense. We're just seeing who goes first in this.
Right.
So
right.
it's gonna be Typhon, Rim, Jackson, Zelmira. So
Oh crap.
now that we know that, you can so Typhon, Rim, Jackson, Zelmira. You can go ahead and delete your tokens, and let's get Alias back in here.
Being superimposed on Elila.
when you
Or
delete
what's
the
that?
token, we go away from the track. We just have to remember. Who
Yeah,
we are.
we just
Yeah, we
remember
just have to remember.
Okay.
Typhon's first, Rim, Jackson, Zelmira. Right?
Mhm.
Okay.
Here he comes. Rightfully suspicious.
Welcome back.
Aye.
So, Silas, you hear the voice of Lulu, and then it fades as you feel yourself falling back, landing at the base of a familiar hill. There's brambles and ruins and rubble up ahead, and a path that winds around the hill leading up to the top. From the base looking up, you can see the statue of Andrea Gilmadrith rising there. In your hands is the piece of rubble that you took many, many visions ago. It has grown steadily heavier with each vision, and now it is a tremendous weight. You are at the base of the hill. What do you do?
I first look around me to see if there's anything that I can see. Is it just me and the hill?
Make a
Or as in
perception
the
check.
past, are there other things?
Right.
Perception. Ooh, a whopping 9.
9. A few feet away from the base of the hill, which seems perfectly solid and present, the area turns into mist, much as it has in your past visions. It's not a mist that has any sort of moisture to it. It's just the details become fuzzy and then turn into ephemeral floating mist.
Do I have any recollection of how I came to be here? The last thing I remember, we were hearing Lulu's voice calling out to us to come back.
Nothing specific. The feel of this area is very similar to the dreams that you've had and the visions that you've had in the past. And as you think about it, where you were in Idleglen had a similar quality to it. The things right in front of you and then extending out for ways were very present and very visceral, but as you gazed into the outside, things became less and less distinct.
This is the place that I have been called to several times. I
Yes,
feel
this
that this is
hill.
where I have received visions from my
Mhm.
goddess.
Yes, indeed. It's very
Sometimes
it
testing
certainly
me.
certainly appears that way. Yes.
Sometimes testing me, sometimes guiding me.
Yep.
Recently, though, I've also been receiving messages from Elila and Glacia. I'm a little bit confused as to this. As I look up at the statue of Vandria, does it
It's
seem proper to me,
far.
or is it defaced in some way?
You are at the base of the hill. You will need to get closer to it to make a definitive look at that.
I will go up.
All right, make a strength check.
That is a 23.
You are able
Save
to move
check.
60 feet around the bottom of the hill, slowly following the path as it goes around, getting slightly higher each time, a spiral-like path. You're able to move 60 feet. As you come to a stop, you see a familiar face standing in front of you. Although as you look at it, it appears grotesque, a perversion of the person you know as Typhon.
Silas.
Typhon?
Listen to me. Would you have believed me when I told you that wherever your soul was sent to, I would go there to retrieve it? We stand at that precipice now, though you do not see it. This weight you carry behind you will be your end. You will never see your goddess. She will never be worthy of her. Not unless you let go of the darkness you harbor in your heart. While she weeps, there is no room for hatred. We saw Zariel, the spark of her, and the most noble of us, Rim, said that as long as there is a seed of hope and goodness, even in one so corrupt as her, she is worth saving. Think then on those you despise, and realize that evil and good are grand forces in this realm, and they can work through creatures, but mortal creatures are not manifestations of those forces. Think on that as you climb, and have the wisdom to let go, or there is no way I nor any of us can help you, and you will never see her light in its fullest glory.
You are a fine one to speak to me of darkness, Typhon. You cavort with demons. Demons in the flesh. And look at you now. My goddess is the goddess of hardship and strife. I carry my weights proudly, but I have no darkness in me.
You are wrong. I have not lied to you, Silas.
What brought you to this state, Typhon?
This place seems to be inside your mind, similar to how Lulu brought us there, and Zariel. The memories. So we are in some sort of suspended state inside your mind, oh strong paladin. This time brought here by the ones who have claim over your own soul. A wager. If you fail to carry this weight of evil which you have bound to yourself, then your friend, Rim, will also be Elila's. You need only let it go. Rim was so brave as to offer himself.
You feel your time slipping away, Typhon, as Silas, the weight holding it here and not progressing, it's beginning to pull you back. You need to make progress.
I have never lied to you.
DM, is this weight that I'm feeling the weight of the pieces of statue that I carry or something else?
Make a perception check.
I'm really good at those. Yeah. 18.
It certainly feels like it's the weight of the stone that you have. It's definitely centered there, but it's awfully heavy. This has gotten heavier the further you've gone on this journey. You're welcome to take from that what you wish.
Now, recalling the stones that I'm carrying are the pieces of the statue
Yes,
of my goddess.
yes. You picked them up after the incident where you lost your soul. You were able to find your way back to the hill and to the pieces of the shattered statue of Vandria, and you saw a piece that had part of her face on it, and you picked that up and have been carrying it with you ever since.
Okay, I'm going to proceed up the hill.
Okay. Make a strength check.
I can do that. There. 19.
19. You are able to make it another 60 feet. But your legs are beginning to shake from the effort. And now, you see another figure blocking your path.
Hello,
A-
Silas.
Horrifying realization of Rim.
My friend. My brother. I have made
Rim.
the ultimate sacrifice because I believe you will do the right thing. You must
What
reach
sacrifice
this.
do you speak of? What are you talking about?
Glazia, Elila, they've given us a chance to speak with you, to convince you to let go. Look upon the statue. You must reach her. She is your salvation, but that which you hold is not what you think it is, Silas. Do you remember when I put on the blindfold and looked at you?
Yes.
I told you I saw something. And I asked you, did you want me to tell you what it was? And you said, in so many words, no. Now, I tell you, I saw great light in you, Silas. I saw your elven form. And I also saw your dark elven form. Both of those exist inside of you. That weight that you carry, I believe it is your hatred, and you must let it go, or you will be destroyed. And in that destruction, so will I.
DM, can I see if this appears to be truly Rim, or if I concentrate, can I see that it is an illusion?
You may make an investigation check if you wish.
$18.
You would think that this is an illusion. You see around Rim a version of him that is twisted. His eyes blaze with flame and fire drips from his mouth. And in the center of it, you can just make out the Rim that you know.
Silas.
But he does seem to be there.
He does seem to be there indeed.
I have looked to you for inspiration as I have followed my own path to my God. I love you, and I know you will do the right thing. Can I reach out and put a claw on his shoulder, DM?
You cannot, and more importantly, Silas, you do not observe Rim doing so.
Now I know, Rim, that you must be controlled in some way. To say that I have a dark elf inside me. This is the refrain of Glacia, seeking to undermine my faith. There is no such creature. Though I have come to grow in my time away from my mentor, I still follow the teachings of my goddess. Vigilance, grief, hardship, and strife, so that others need not bear the burden. There is no darkness in me.
Silas. And I must believe the wisdom and faith that you have will lead you to that truth.
or else you are lost. And so am I.
It is time to continue moving, Silas.
I continue moving.
Make a strength check, please.
I'll even make it from the right button this time.
Nice.
Ooh, a 10.
Big moves.
As
I should have used the wrong
you
button.
walk, the weight becomes heavier and heavier. You feel your shoulders beginning to complain as it takes absolutely everything you have to take each step. Do you keep going?
Yes.
Take a point of exhaustion. You're able to make it 30 feet. Coming
I
around,
continue.
find another corner, you find the form of Zelmira. Nope, sorry, the form of Jax. I do apologize. He's sitting on a rock and he looks grotesque. He's never been a particularly attractive goblin, but now he looks.
Well, that's not very
positively
nice to say.
feral.
Man. You're going to get a letter from the fan
Hey,
club. Woo.
You drew him, Jade. So, I mean, he
don't
looks
see a picture.
feral and
I always thought he looked cute. Now he doesn't. Woo.
Hello, Silas. You big dummy. Rim has sold his soul for your precious rocks. I tried to pay 50 gold. She said no, the bitch. She said she wanted something more precious. So I offered platinum. I don't know where I'm going with this. Can you hear me?
No. You're muted.
Oh.
You are
It's
an
muted.
asshole.
It says I'm muted.
that's amazing.
Wow.
Jax, what are you speaking about? Why do you look this way, Jax? Is this from the rat kebabs?
I've been eating a lot of them. They're not poisoned, I promise. What do you mean I look like this? I always look like a goblin.
You look
I'm a nobbling goblin.
you look like hell, Jax.
Well, you don't look much better yourself.
I look down at myself, DM. Do I look like that?
You look like a man struggling to carry an impossibly heavy burden, but possibly heavy bourbon.
Lay 'em
Possibly
down.
heavy burden, but you will not be deterred.
But I'm not on fire or leaking.
No, you're not on fire or leaking, at least to your eyes.
Drop the stone, Silas. You won't regret it.
And would you pick it up for me? Would you carry it? Would you bear the weight?
They're only stones, you dummy. I'd probably throw them.
I don't think you could lift them, Jax. Perhaps with your mind.
Well, show me them. How big are they?
I show him how big my stones are.
Oh,
Different stream.
they're about the size of a couple of plums.
Different stream.
My God.
Couple of plums worth, that's all.
And we've
Saw
just
it
been
coming a
canceled.
mile away.
Been canceled.
So,
Yeah, Silas, give them to me.
come on. All right.
What? What are you laughing for?
I'm not laughing. Who's I take my backpack out and take whatever I'm carrying out, and I look at the stones.
Very hard to do while you are carrying the piece of statue. It's so incredibly heavy. It is literally all you can do to keep holding on to
Do we see him carrying this statue?
You see him carrying something. You look at it, it looks like a boulder. And then looking at it again, it changes shape. It looks like another object that Jax would think would likely be heavy.
Yeah.
It changes forms. It is meant to represent something that is heavy. To Silas, it represents one thing and always has and always will, but you can change it a little bit. You can see it.
It's very clever, Silas. It's a big rock. It was a little rock. Now it's a big rock again. What do you want with a rock, you big dummy?
DM, I'm gonna try to observe it if it has changed in any way.
So it is still, it's about this size. That's the thing. It has grown incredibly heavy, but it is still the size of, a picture like the Phantom of the Opera mask, except a little bit larger, made of stone.
Okay, but it's not. I'm not in a dream state or something. I'm not like carrying a continent on my back. It's still the same size.
To your eyes, it looks has unchanged since you.
I'll give you
Jax.
50 gold for it, I promise.
I believe you mean that, Jax. Even in this state, when did all of this happen? You speak about Rim sacrificing himself. We were listening to Lulu, and now we're here.
Yeah. He sold his soul to that. Is she an angel or she's a big imp? I was going to do one of my souls, but Rim got there first.
Do you have 50 gold? Probably, yes.
I do. Yes.
How many souls? 50, 100, 150.
I've no idea. I'm assuming I've got a few. Is it?
And Jax, are you also now a servant of Elila and Glacia? Do you sit at their feet?
No. I'm floating above your head, you dummy.
Are you deceiving me, Jax?
I would never do that. Never.
Can I tell if he's telling the truth, DM?
Make an insight check.
14. With his passive liar score.
Yeah.
30.
Everything that your senses observe, and his tone of voice, and the way his eyes move, and all that, he's not to be trusted. However, I will say that with the previous investigation check you did on Rim, seeing that that was an illusion, that has carried over to this. And you can see that this more goblin and demonic form of Jax is covering up the real Jax, or at least what appears to be the real Jax beneath. So you can see him as well. But fortunately,
Does he seem
14
wounded, like what I'm seeing underneath? Is it wounded or bound or shackled?
Make a perception check.
Okay. 13.
Appears to be similar in terms of all that as you left him last time you saw him. He doesn't seem to have any new wounds, new clothing, or new anything that's binding him or restraining him in any fashion. Yes.
Inventory. Yes. Jax.
Yes.
If I gave you 50 gold, would you tell me the truth of this?
Yes.
I reach in. I have more than that. I pull
Very
out
difficult to
50
do
gold.
while you're holding on to this thing with both hands.
Well, I'm going to try. I made an offer. I'm going to try.
So you could certainly turn your body so that a gold pouch is available for someone to take. That is what you-
You can have half what's in the bag, Jax, if you tell me the truth of this.
Okay.
Now, not to meta or anything, but I'm so trying to invoke like a saving throw against domination or something based on greed.
Okay.
Falls on you. I was telling the truth.
Doesn't seem to.
Why can't I reach
have
for the
changed
gold?
his- All right, go for it.
But why can't I
Take the
reach for
gold.
it?
I'm trying to reach for the
You
gold
take-
and I can't.
You reach out to take the gold and you cannot. You do not see Jax move his arm. You do not see him go for the gold. You hear him say what he said, but he does not go for it. And inside the illusion, I would say, you could see a look of frustration on Jax's face. Unless you're happy to not be able to get the gold, Jax.
No.
Yeah, frustrated. So, any questions there, as you can no longer afford to wait any here, Silas? The barely able to keep it above your waist as it keeps dragging itself down to the ground.
Then I'm going to continue forward. I'm going to make sure to not get within reach, not within 5 feet
Right.
of Jax.
You make a wide berth, Jax. You see Silas wearily move up the hill. Make a strength check, Silas.
Good luck.
An 11.
You are able to take 3 steps. Do you wish to proceed?
Though I push through shadow, though it were solid rock, yes, I will proceed.
You take another point of exhaustion.
At exhaustion level 2,
Bad things start to happen.
my speed is halved and I have disadvantage on ability checks.
Indeed.
Okay.
You stagger forward, and after a few moments, appearing before you is Zelmira. Her
That's not
face
Zelmira.
is squashed. Her eyes burn with fire. Her
She looks like she's been
silver
to
eyes
Athos.
She has a cruel smirk on her face as she looks at you.
My dear, dear Silas, you've become an unexpected friend to me in this abysmal place. I too have carried a burden such as you bear, and you must let it go. You cannot truly achieve what you seek to achieve without dropping this burden. Do you truly believe that there is no darkness within you? Look inside yourself. You know it's not true. You must lean into the light.
What happened to you? Why do you look
What
this way?
What happened to me? Nothing has happened to me. I look the way I've always looked.
Also,
Tell me,
clouded by
Silas.
illusion.
Do you not understand my question? Do you not know that there is evil within you? That there is darkness within you? That you are not only light?
course, there's sadness in me.
That's not the
Grief.
question. It's the darkness within you that I'm asking about. You hold a burden that prevents you from doing the work you need to do.
And what is that work?
You tell me. What is your goal here, Silas?
My goal is to save El Terrell and my friends. And if possible, liberate those who are shackled.
And in order to do that, you must set down your burden.
I must accomplish this while carrying my burden.
No. You must put it down, or else Rim will die. He will be lost forever. Do you want that on your conscience, Silas?
He has
Could
a
you
remarkable
handle
ability.
that burden? Knowing that your friend gave their life, their soul, to Elila for you. For you. Well, I don't think you could stand it.
You
I
are
know
correct
you
in
know
that.
better. Put down your burden, Silas.
What does my
Lay it
burden have to do
down.
with this?
It has everything to do with this.
Are these your words or the words of Elila and Glacia?
I know Elila and I know Glacia. These are not their words but my own. Put down your burden, Silas. For the sake of your friends, for the sake of those you love, for the sake of your journey, put your burden down.
Why? Why do you so wish me to do this?
I'm just trying to accomplish the same thing that you are. I want to save our friends. I want to help you achieve your goals of saving El Terrell. All you must do is lay down the darkness that lies within you. It's a pretty small ask when you think about it.
What darkness do you think is inside me?
I've seen the way that you respond to certain people here.
In hell.
This is
The
the only
demons.
context in which I've known you, so yes.
What are you talking about?
Your hatred is preventing you from seeing the light.
I have no hatred.
You have no hatred. That's not true.
Do you mean the demons that inhabit this place?
Well, I think that there are a few levels of demons that inhabit this place. I don't think they're all the same.
Some are more dangerous than others. The most dangerous.
The most dangerous is
The evils that people refuse to see.
it's an interesting statement coming from you.
DM, I can clearly see that Zelly is there, but not.
Yes, you can. Your 18 was the 17 was the DC to determine whether or not this was an illusion, and you beat it with you beat it with
I'm going to
Rim,
look-
which I would say means that you've been able to beat it with the rest.
I'm going to look very carefully I'm going to focus on the real
Okay.
friend that I have. And then I will say, Zelly, how's your brother?
You know he's trapped. I don't know.
Is
I
he?
don't know how he is. Yes.
I went to
What's your
insight
tone,
that.
Zelly?
I went to insight that. Can I
Okay.
can tell if that was an honest answer? That's
So-
all I was trying to do. But it's a disadvantage, isn't it? That's an
It
ability
is.
check.
Mm-hmm.
Well, a 6 then.
6. Oh, it is difficult to tell as sweat is pouring down your forehead, gets into your eyes, and everything gets blurry as you look at her. The tone of her voice, the way she said it, it seemed odd. And I will say that there is a disconnect between the way that she is speaking and how she looks inside the illusion, and that has been the case with everybody that you've seen this illusion. Your friends have seemed themselves inside the illusion. But the dice tell a story.
Zelly, I pledged that I would help you.
Then help me in putting down your burden.
There is no weakness in admitting that I need help. Will you help me?
I'll help you in whatever way I can. I'd hope that would be obvious by now.
Help me up.
Of course I'll help you up. And am I able to do that?
You're not.
Beans!
Silas, you see that the illusion does not move, but neither does Elmira inside. She seems frustrated by it. Beans.
Damn you, infernal beans!
Sorry, I had to cough.
Your time is limited here, Silas.
I'm going to push on, given that she's not moving to help me.
All right.
Although it is not, per se directly affecting, I am going to use what the one of the few abilities that I have left, which is Second Wind,
Okay.
for the literal meaning of the term. Rather than the
Yes.
healing, I'm going to
A nice breath. Make a strength check, please.
make a strength check.
This is an ability check, so at disadvantage.
8.
All right. Do you wish to keep going?
Yes.
Another point of exhaustion. The top of this hill is just a few feet away, and you can see the statue of Vandria glowing at the opposite end of where you are stepping on to the top of it. You're very close. As I need you to take your headphones off, Silas.
Beans.
Beans.
The rest of you have watched each of your compatriots appear before Silas, and he seems intent on continuing. Oh, just a few more feet now. Anybody wish to buy another chance?
What else can we possibly say? Grim, do you think you can reason with him?
Don't know.
your soul on the line.
I know. I had hoped his goddess would speak to him. I had hoped our words would reach him. I don't know what to do.
Is this
Typhon,
really...
Jax?
Has anyone addressed specifically his hatred for the Dark Elves? Or have we just alluded to the hatred that he carries?
I only alluded.
And I told him.
Maybe you'd be
I
best.
told him who he was.
In your relationship, Typhon.
Does seem to be trying hard, doesn't he? I think there's time for one more. Does anybody care to buy that chance?
I'd like to phone a friend.
And
Sure, who'd you like to
bye-bye,
phone?
what do you mean?
I want to call. Can we see if Ryan has been available in the car?
Sure. Ryan, are you watching? You're listening?
This is a
this
terrible
a-
time for them to be. At
Is this
medieval
like
times.
a... For Rim's situation, is this like an upon death ownership soul type of thing?
Yes. If Silas dies, Rim's soul is gone, and that would be the same the same terms for anybody else who wished to wager their soul.
Oh, buy their chance.
Yeah.
I just don't know what else I could say.
I would like to point out, for the record, that we did exactly as you told us, and we RP'd that very effectively. And if
You did.
I go down because of it, we are going to be in a huge fight. I'm just saying
Okay.
that for the record and for the stream.
I have faith.
It also seems like, as like seeing it from his perspective, it seems like he's supposed to ignore us.
Like, yeah,
So I'm
exactly,
like,
100%. Like
I
if I was
Sean
I know.
knew what
I
he
know.
was doing.
I know. I know.
He's a sneaky guy.
So,
Sneaky
little meta
damn.
here. There's 2 more souls to be wagered, but only one time for one more person to speak.
Well, I've got plenty of souls, so I could give one.
Very brave of you, Jax.
Thank you. Shut up, bitch.
Oh my god.
I said a nasty thing.
She
You
pulls out
did, Jax.
the triangular dagger, and she pulls out another scroll. Do you wish to try to convince him again, Jax? Or do you want someone else to?
Hey, wouldn't listen to me, the big dummy. Now he owes me 50 gold. Someone else can do it.
Let me try. One
Yes,
last
sir.
time.
Well,
Typhon.
I was going to volunteer, but
Oh, what, you do your soul?
you can, Rim. I think we've been appealing to our own sensibilities and our own understanding of this conflict. Speak to him in the language that he's communicated to us. He spoke of foes and corruption, and hopefully he has seen in this land that hopefully he has found a greater corrupting force than whatever he perceived in the drow. And appeal to the simplicity and the task. If letting go of hatred of a mortal race is the quickest way to reach the grace of his goddess, then perhaps the straightest, most direct path may appeal to him, that he quotes to us incessantly.
I just told him to drop the stone.
Then perhaps it should be you, Typhon. Fine.
Wait.
You're gonna let the goblin buy you another chance with his soul.
You know what you're doing, Jax.
No.
If it's our last chance, I mean, wouldn't he do the same for us?
Yes.
I'll make you a deal, Typhon. If you don't convince him, you owe me 500 gold. I can't remember how much more you owe me already. My head hurts.
Done.
Delilah takes out the triangular-shaped dagger, stabs her hand. Her name appears at the bottom of a contract. You read it as identical to the other. She passes it to you, Jax, and passes you the dagger.
I'll do as she says.
All right. Jax appears at the bottom.
My soul stinks anyway.
She takes the scroll and the dagger back and looks at you, Typhon, and gestures to go ahead.
Okay. I will
Come
walk
back, Scott. That was a fun little dance we all did there. That was fun.
I know, right?
All right.
I had this
Silas.
psychic message in my voice going, come back, tomorrow we will take you.
So, Silas, your vision has gone blurry as you stand a few feet away from the top of this hill. And then in your path, once again, you see Typhon.
Is Tahi all bizarro?
Yes,
Corrupted
looks the same as he did
Typhon.
before.
Great.
Face, this snake-like form has come
Finally
forward, even
overtaken
stronger
him.
than before. Yes, indeed.
He's obviously
But-
been listening to the wrong people.
As with the others, you can see what appears to be the real Typhon within the illusion.
I've been given one last chance to convince you, Silas. This chance was bought with Jax's own soul. And listen carefully. Both the soul of he and our friend Rim are wagered on the chance that you will listen to me now at the last moment. Have we made a mistake?
Are you speaking the truth, Typhon?
I am.
Can I insight check that, DM?
Sure can.
Because we're playing D&D. I'm going to use inspiration, thanks to our wonderful
Very good.
viewers at Twitch.
Thank you all.
Now that cancels out the disadvantage on the ability
Does.
check, right? So
It
I get a
does.
straight check insight,
Straight
right?
check. Insight.
But wait. I see the result, but I do not yet know the result. I choose to pray to my goddess, Vandria.
Okay,
And citing Vandria's grace, I get to roll again.
you do.
Now that's a straight 11. That would be a 12.
A 12. Typhon, you would say that you have no... There's nothing about his demeanor that would say that he is definitely telling the truth, but then there is nothing about his demeanor that is showing that he's lying. He is Typhon. He is looking and giving you as much as he always does whenever he tells you something. But thinking back,
That's
Can't
always
recall
been
it.
very good advice.
you can't recall a time when he lied. I'm pretty sure that is 100% accurate.
I remember that he lied with that one person who's not nice.
Silas, your strength is insufficient to bear this to the mount of your goddess. You will die. Rim and Jax, their souls will be forfeit. All you need to do is let go of your hatred for the Drow. Hear me now, you have seen what true evil is in this place. You have seen an enemy whose existence is pain and torment. And you have found a true enemy. Something so wholly evil it cannot be redeemed. That is what I speak when I speak that the spark of good is not impossible. All you need to do is let go of this hatred of them, this shame of yourself, and you can save thousands. Along with them, you can save the souls of Rim and Jack. You need only let go of hatred to fight with a renewed fervor, to reach the summit of your goddess and find full strength in her. Worldly hate weighs you down and keeps you from a blazing heavenly vengeance to be wielded against the forces of hell itself. The most direct path is to let go of petty hatred and fight for true righteousness and goodness. All of El Terrell depends on this. Jax's soul depends on this. Rim's soul depends on this. Do you have the strength to carry on without hardened prejudice? Do you have the wisdom to embrace the light of your goddess? Or is that path too difficult, so Silas must take the winding way to death? I am fading now. I have explained this as well as I can. I hope for our friend's sake you can see wisdom in this. We bet that we could convince you. And if we lose this wager, Glacia takes them. That is the whole of it.
Then give me hope, Typhon. All of my life, they have been held up as evil incarnate. Watching Rim die once so that a dark elf could live. and usurp his body while his soul was tormented, showed me that everything I was told about them was true. Selfish, evil, caring nothing for anyone but themselves. Even the one you love left you here with me to save herself. How then does this not deserve anything but hatred? My goddess was shunned by the Zeltari for her mother's betrayal, a dark elf. You tell me how easy it is to put this aside.
I did not say it was easy. You have seen cruelty and evil in them. But to paint the entire world of their existence with one heavy black brush paints no map of truth. No. This is not a certainty. So much as you may fight it, they are not wholly evil. Not every single one. As long as there is room for doubt, so you should allow a spring, a seed of hope. These are not beings of pure evil. Corrupted, perhaps. But you have witnessed pure evil in this place. It is not easy, I am sure. But you must bend, break. You must allow this to pass. You must be stronger now than you ever have been, and hope with such wild audacity that perhaps what you think impossible can become true. If you do not allow that space for hope, that space for light to blossom, then darkness will be ever present for your friends and the thousands of souls in that good city of Elturel. You need not love them, Silas. You need only recognize the iron tumor, your own heart, weighing you down. That is what keeps you from her. A dark one bet us that you wouldn't be able to see that. Was Elila correct? Is your hatred stronger than your love for your friends and your desire to be with your goddess? If so, then I misjudged you. Do as you will. You are aware of the consequences. The paths lie ahead of you. Choose one.
Typhon. That person. Do you love her?
I'm alive because of her. nothing more than to make her happy. To see her crowned like a queen.
This sounds
My
like
kind
bullshit.
has never been able to feel compassion the way you can. Most things are utility for me. Even my fondness for you is based on your strength. If I saved your soul from the depths of hell, it would be because I have a righteous friend that would save me from such a depth, not because I admire your conviction to some goddess. So
But
no,
yet
I
you
don't
are
love her in the same way you would love another.
But you are
But-
devoted to her.
Yes.
Does that help you? That devotion? Wouldn't you have been better off just leaving hell yourself?
Most
Before you answer
certainly.
that, this conversation has gone on long enough that I need another
Okay.
strength check, Silas.
Well, I'm going to once again pray to my goddess, just in case it goes wrong. This is a disadvantage strength.
Mhm.
Well, that's one roll. And an 8.
If you keep holding on, it's going to be another point of exhaustion.
Well, I am at exhaustion 3. If... Oh, I'm going to continue.
Okay. You take another point of exhaustion.
I am at exhaustion 4. My hit point maximum has been halved. Let me just write that
Typhon,
down.
you see Silas. You see Silas literally killing himself to hold this weight. Blood has begun to trickle from the side of his mouth, out of his ears.
What was he going to ask? He's
He
asking about
finished it.
devotion. I
Yeah,
thought you were
yeah.
gonna ask
Did
something else. but-
does that help you, or wouldn't you have been better off leaving hell yourself?
I would have been better off leaving hell myself.
So then isn't your attachment more than utility towards her?
In this case, perhaps. A singular feeling for me, perhaps why I have latched onto it, and perhaps why I would do almost anything to protect her, yet here I am. She there, but I saw it better that way. Still have not lied to you, Silas. You must shed this, or we are lost. You'll die before you see her grace. Delilah will take you.
Ian, what happens if I get to level 5? Exhaustion?
There are 6 total, right?
I think so. What happens if I get to 5? I'm at
Exhaustion.
4,
Yes.
right?
Speed reduced
Your
to 0.
speed is reduced to 0. And we will have to deal with that as it comes.
I think back to everything that's been said. Some days, weeks ago, Glacia and Delilah told me that I was half dark elf.
That's true. You understandably dismissed it as a lie, given that that is what they do.
It was very frustrating to some people that it dismissed that in such a way. And yet it keeps coming back to this. I think back to Angelor, my mentor, who seemed to teach me all the bad sides of everything that I believe in. And even in a vision was a dick.
Consistency.
I think back to the idea put forth recently that my goddess Vandria also carries the weight for dark elves as well. The evil that has been put upon me since I was a child by my family. And watching Typhon get pulled around like a puppet, used by a dark elf. And there's one thing I can't stop thinking about. Is when Falkrin fell. When Falkrin fell and I had to make a choice to save my friends or not, I had to give up my own soul. Falkrin lived. And I was cast away from my goddess. And I survived. And I clawed my way to self-sufficiency until I could be reunited. I don't need to carry a statue. And I don't need to carry hatred. I need to carry hope. And I need to save my friends. I dropped the stones.
All right. As you let go of the piece of statue, there is a feeling of relief and renewal that comes upon you. Those of you who are watching, you see Elila, who's been watching this rapt. Just fine. And she fades away. Silas, as you stand on top of this hill, you look beyond and see the statue of Zariel crumble, as it did that first time you sold your soul. But as it does...
Vandria.
I'm sorry, not Zariel, Vandria. I meant to say Vandria. You see the statue of Vandria crumble. As it does, you recall that in all of the visions that have felt wholesome, there has been no statue. And in the visions that the statue has been intact ever since it broke, those have been the ones controlled by Glazia and Lila. And as you come to this realization, a memory returns. Something that has been occluded. Something that Glazia and Lila have been hiding from you and using to cultivate this dark prejudice that you've had, which has been a part of your life, but has grown more and more obstinate. Because this one memory was pushed so far back. It is the core of where you derive compassion. And you'd forgotten. You see the face of a dusk-skinned elf woman looking down at you with love as she sings. Your mother, Vizarixel, barely remembered crumb of memory from when you were an infant, but it has stayed with you and been hidden. With Glazia gone, the rest of you are able to move beyond this barrier that's kept you from Silas and join him on top of the hill. What do you do?
You owe me 50 gold, you big dummy.
Come up behind Silas. And as I said, I always would, when he needed strength, I put my claw on his shoulder to let him know that I'm there.
Typhon, Zelmira, Jax?
I also approach Silas and extend my arm out to him and put an arm around his shoulder and then rest my head on the shoulder as well and say, that was incredibly difficult, but you've done the right thing and we're here to help you. In the way that you helped me and you've helped Rim and everyone else, we're here to help you.
The statue is gone, but the dais remains.
Typhon,
Yes.
assuming this is you and not just a figment of my own creation,
You're not that
Is everything-
creative.
is everything that was said true?
Some of it stripped a bit bare and sharper than I would have said it. Some of it needing more context, perhaps, but I did not lie to you, Silas.
And Jax,
Yes.
was your soul in the balance?
One of them, yes.
Yes, Silas. Both of ours were. Because we knew you would do what you needed to.
It's very hard to be open-minded when you're hurt. It's very easy to make blind judgments about the type of person that hurt you. It's very easy to shut off everything. In the name of progress.
I'll give him a
Path is
big
never
hug.
straight. That path is never a straight line, Silas. But I believe now, for you, the way forward is more clear than it ever has been. And I will join Jax in giving you a big hug.
Me three.
Probably notice that Jax is patting you down slightly.
Make a sleight of hand check, Jax.
God damn it, Jax.
Classic Jax.
19. Gotta roll a 3.
You have
I know, right?
stolen Silas's money pouch, where
His rocks.
Yeah, his rocks. You stole his rocks.
I only showed half of it. I
marbles.
said half of it, huge. I didn't say you could take all of it. I said half of it. Don't make me take my boots off.
Silas, you'll have to help me count out this gold.
I'll just hold in his pouch while I'm like in the middle of the hug.
Tell you what, Jax. If we make it out of here, you can have every coin that I own. Unless there's a soul coin.
I don't want one of them.
I don't think you do. Now, given that what you said is true, I've got a date with 2 bitches.
I called her a bitch.
And they're not going to like what I have to say to their face.
Say it behind
First-
their back.
That's the way. This is the way. Talk behind their back. This is the way. This is the way. I've got to get to the top of this hill, and apparently I've got to get over myself.
Where's the statue gone?
DM,
Wasn't
can I
ever
tell
there.
where has the statue gone?
The statue broke, and you have only seen it in false visions, intact.
That's the highest point of this hill, right?
It is indeed.
What is the you said there was a dais still there.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
Is
The
there
base of
anything-
the statue. I'm
base of the
going to
statue.
climb up on top of it.
Do the hokey
All right.
pokey.
Your muscles are still barely able to function. With the help of your friends, you're able to stumble forward. Reaching the dais, you once again feel weight, but this one is not holding you back. This one is impressing importance. This is not just taking a step onto a dais. This is deeper. This is
Oh, God, I didn't just lose
Taking-
my paladin hood again, did I?
taking your place. Something that you have been moving towards. Something that you have wanted. This is the end of that journey and the beginning of whatever comes next. Don't be muted.
You're muted, buddy.
What can
Bad
I see
time to
from
mute it.
this place?
It is the same hill, shrouded, mist, nebulous beyond what 25 to 50 feet you need to see around you to move and to understand where you are.
But what can I see?
You see pieces of broken statue scattered about the bottom of this dais.
I'm going to say a prayer to Vandria and see if I feel a connection.
Oh, yes. The connection is there. And you have the impression that taking the step onto this dais is not a grim step. It's not going to be anything that prevents you from having a connection. It's just a path you could take.
What if I'm a completionist and I have to take all the paths to all the rooms?
Then you'd better step on that damn dais.
I'm up there.
Right, you step up onto it.
Yes, indeed.
You begin to fade away as the vista in front of you melts and reforms. You're standing on a vast battlement, the edges of which extend well past what you can see in either direction. Behind you is golden mist filled with the sounds of laughter, singing, and life. Before you, on the other side of this massive wall, is a vast, rolling sea of tears. Manning it and womaning it.
Thanks, Sean.
No problem, Liz. I'm here for you. Are elves of every type. Telkasir, Rokasir, and Sir Kasir. Dark elves. They glance behind, see you approaching, and step to the side, making a place for you.
Do they look nice?
They do. Your kind of people, Silas.
You look mean. I'm joking.
I move forward into the space.
You take your place. A half-elf, but nonetheless a guardian of the people, keeping them safe, holding their grief at bay. In the name of Andrea Gilmadrith. The rest of you, you've lost sight of Silas, but the statue is intact. And that will be where we end our session.
Have we failed? Just kidding.
Now I'm confused.
You know, if you had failed, you would know, right? I mean, there's only one reason why. It's because you're all
Cowards.
Cool.
Bitch, if you didn't put that stone down, I would have.
Cool.
I'm just
flown to
referencing
your house
another
and
time that I
cut
hurt
you.
my throat on stream.
Oh, cowards.
All right.
cowards.
Awesome job. That was really cool. Thanks for making that everything and more than I hoped it would be, guys. That was really, really fantastic.
You thought it would only take 30 minutes, and then we could go to
I
the
had
bathroom.
no idea, to be really honest. I said, this could either go like this, or this is going to be a long night. I think it worked out.
Yeah.